What's going on, Sports Nation? I'm your host, Kenneth Tiberius Clark, and you guys are listening to another episode of the Sports Exclusive Podcast. Now, today's topic is going to be a little bit more on the serious side. Not a little bit more, a lot more on the serious side. We're going to talk just a few minutes about false allegations against professional athletes. I would say mainly football players, because if anyone doesn't know, we just got the update on the Matt Ariza case. Punter, who formerly played for the Buffalo Bills, drafted out of San Diego State, 6th round, won the Ray Guy Award, best punter in the nation. So very highly decorated player. So he gets drafted by Buffalo. He gets integrated in the team. He's going through preseason, and towards the end of preseason, these accusations come out. And it was that he assaulted a fellow SDSU student, a young lady, with other males around. And he immediately gets released. He immediately got released, and that was right before the 2022 season, and he's been fighting those allegations ever since. Now, of course, it recently came out that he was innocent. You know, he was exonerated, and he wasn't even present. He wasn't even in the same vicinity as the alleged victim. So now he's starting over from scratch. He's rebuilding, and he is trying to make an NFL return. He sent evidence to different NFL teams, just kind of showing them like, hey, like, I'm innocent and I'm available to play football. And, you know, honestly, I don't know how that's going to work out for him in the short term. You know, I think he'll be on the outside looking in, at least for the 2023 season. You know, for anybody that follows these type of cases, whether it's in professional sports or outside of it, regardless of the outcome, you usually become somewhat of a social pariah. So he's definitely going to have to deal with the difficulty of kind of rebuilding his image. So, but I would say the sad reality about this is that there's not going to be an apology from the league, from the alleged victim. It's going to be a shoulder shrug type of situation, and he's just going to have to figure it out on his own. You know, this is a very unapologetic situation, not only for professional athletes, but specifically for men. And I just think it's unfair that he's kind of had to suffer this just over false allegations, you know, and we see this happen all the time in sports. Like, we're not going to make it seem like this is a rare occurrence. This is a phenomenon. This is a one-off. No, this happens. Happens quite a lot. Many athletes, you know, fall victim to personal attacks and just false allegations. You know, I say it all the time. You know, you breathe wrong, you can get accused of things of this nature if you're not. So you have to really play your cards right and be careful. So, you know, and let me make sure I throw this out. So I'm going off on a tangent, but I want to make sure I throw this out. This isn't me implying that all of these athletes are innocent, because I'm not. You know, there are definitely quite a few examples of athletes that have, how can I say it, displayed, you know, questionable decision making, and that have actually committed these serious crimes. So let me make sure that I throw that out, right? I'm not implying that they're perfect. But however, what I do wish is that they're given the benefit of the doubt when it comes to these situations, that all the facts are collected, and that they're ultimately proven innocent or guilty before we, you know, the whole world comes crashing down on them, right? So, you know, I think when we think about this situation, the first example I think about is Brian Banks. Played at Long Beach Poly. I'm talking about 5-star, great player. Had a full ride to USC under Pete Carroll, which I think he would have been great with Pete Carroll and some of the linebackers that were there at that time. And false allegations, you know, that he assaulted a fellow student at Long Beach Poly, and he lost about the next 10 years of his life. And it robbed him of what it could have been a stellar career at USC and what could have been a fruitful NFL career. Who knows? I wholeheartedly believed he could have been a high draft pick and, you know, and possibly been really productive in the National Football League. You know, you think of another guy, Sean Oakman, played for Baylor, big 6'8", 280, 290 pound specimen, right? Was productive at Baylor, possibly could have came into the league, would have been a day 2, maybe even a day 1 draft pick. Who knows? But false allegations come out against him, And not only does he go undrafted, but he spends the next 3 or 4 years of his life fighting those allegations. And I don't think he ever really played in a National Football League. He's playing like Canadian football right now. So definitely impacted him in a negative way. If we journey to other sports, basketball, people forget Derek Coleman, big man center for the Nets, early 90s, really, really dominant, one of the better big men in the NBA during that time. And he was able to beat some false allegations. This was at the peak of his career. He got accused the same year, and I think the only year he was an all-star player. And then you look at more recent examples. You have Trevor Bauer. Who played for the Dodgers. And his is actually it's still ongoing. We don't really know what the facts are. But regardless of there being any legitimate evidence that he did commit a crime, he's suspended from the MLB for 2 years. And I think he got docked something like 50 games, right? Something like 50 games. And the Dodgers released him at the beginning of this year. He's like in Yokohama, Japan right now playing baseball, right? So that just shows you that these players, these athletes are guilty. They're guilty until proven innocent. And, I'll say this. I do love what these professional sports leagues have done as far as holding athletes and players accountable, making more of a contorted effort over the years to really hold these players accountable, and especially harping on matters we've seen more recently in the past 5 to 10 years, harping on matters like domestic abuse, sexual assault, battery. So they really have focused on holding players accountable. And I think it's their duty since they're so big in media, it's their duty to use their platform to make people aware of those things. Now, that's the positive side. On the negative side, it's kind of left a lot of these athletes, left them out to dry, put them in a position where if any little accusation could derail or ruin their career. Like, that's just the truth, And optics have a big part to play about that. These teams, these leagues, they're brands before anything, right? They have shareholders, they have season ticket holders, they have people to answer to. So for them, it is a lot easier for them to cut bait and avoid any type of negative publicity, anything that could damage their brand, as opposed to actually supporting the player, getting all the facts and helping them get through it, just getting everything figured out. That's the very unpopular decision. So you won't see that very often. So I understand it could be difficult for all parties, mainly for the person that was accused. And it's not easy for these leagues or these teams as big brands. They got to protect their brand at the end of the day. But I want to make this a conversation, and I'll leave you guys with this question. And please feel free to answer. Shoot me a message, comment on the video. But over time, professional sports leagues have created rules. They've created rules and conduct policies to maintain order and really keep these athletes in check, and in turn protect society from these athletes. Now, the question is, what's in place to protect the athletes from society? You guys tell me what you think. I'll see you guys next time.